Hello everyone and welcome to another Forza race video. This one's going to be 60s GP, still same cars that we saw in the last one. But this time we're going to be racing on Mid-Ohio. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the last video, but I went out of order a little bit. The last race in these cars that I uploaded was one of the more recent ones that I did. This one is actually the very first race that I did in these cars. And not just the very first race that I did, the very first race that everybody in this lobby did as well. Unless they did like a free play race in these or something, because this was the first race of the new playlist. So I think it's very apparent too. Really happy that that guy saves it right there before he completely went around right in front of me. And that is one example of showing that this is the first race for, you know, not just me in these cars, and there'll be plenty more as well. It's a pretty crazy race, especially in the first 5 laps or so, because of how hard these cars are to drive and how new it is to everybody. So that's why I thought this one was pretty entertaining. And also, I've said multiple times, like, I want to try to showcase the different types of tracks, or like all the different tracks. So I want to try to upload. I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I don't know if I'll quite complete it in November, but I'd say definitely by December. I want to try to upload a race on every different track in the game. Don't care like what car or series it is. I just want to have a race on every track. And I'm not going to do one for every like alternate layout or whatever, because that's just absurd. If we start to get into that, that's a lot of different, that you're getting into like the 60s at that point. It gets pretty crazy. So not every like specific layout, but I'm going to try to do at least a video on, you know, a layout of every track. So that's a goal of mine. I'm going to try to make some gains on it here in November, and, you know, hopefully by December complete it for this game, because they said they've been planning on, you know, adding tracks like every month or 2 months or however much they can keep up with it. So I'm going to try to catch up on these early game tracks so I can be ready to do ones on the when the new ones get added in. But yeah, this I like this track. So Mid-Ohio, I think I've mentioned this before. This is the track that was okay. So we raced Watkins Glen in the Indy Hog season. This was originally what that track was going to be. Wanted to make Mid-Ohio because I kind of like this track. It's very technical. It's one where, like, watching the video, it may not appear that way, but I think this track is pretty underrated for technicality in this game, because there is, especially in these cars, there's so many sections where like nailing a certain corner to like set up the whole section is super important. And if you mess that up, you mess up the entire section. And there's also a lot of places where it just feels like you have to feather the throttle. It feels like you want to go full throttle, but you can't, because you just feel super loose and out of control. And there's a lot of places where, like, if you slightly miss a braking point, you could just go in the grass and like blind corners and crests and stuff. It almost feels like a rally track to me at times, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I actually really like Mid-Ohio. Again, I think it's kind of underrated. It's just it's a very technical track, and, you know, even though I've raced it quite a few times in this game at this point, I still just don't feel like I have a great grasp on it. It's one that'll probably take me quite a while and a lot of races to really get it down, because there's other tracks that I like and that I'm familiar with that, you know, I'm sure I could find more time, but I at least feel pretty good on them. Like, I at least can run some good laps. This is one where it's like, I feel like I really have to lock in, especially in these cars. And that's a big mistake right there for the leader, and that's going to help me get in the lead here. We'll see if they can bring it back, though. Look at how close the gaps are, by the way, behind me. Like, this is the beginning of this race is really freaking sweet. It was really fun, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to upload it. Not just because it was the first race I did in these cars, but just like, love this close on-track action. Wanted to give you guys some good gameplay to watch in the background too. But yeah, this video would be kind of like almost like a channel update-ish video too. I did want to talk about the Forza and the racing in this series a little bit more, but I did talk about a lot of that in the last video. It's already covered most of it. And, you know, I already talked about these cars a lot in that one and how they handle, and, you know, I talked about Mid-Ohio. And I'd say with these cars, as long as this playlist is available, I want to upload the other oval track. So I did a video on Homestead, did a video on Indy. I'll definitely upload a race on the other oval track as well. And I don't know, I'll have to look around. I'll have to see like the different tracks. I don't know if I've even done a race on every track in this series yet. But there's a bunch of stuff coming out this week. And it's just unfortunate timing that I really like this series on Forza, because there's also a bunch of other stuff that I'll get to that I want to try. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to all those races. So we'll see. I did the Brickyard race. I did this one. Maybe, or I'll definitely do the other oval track as well. Any other races in this series beyond that is not a guarantee, so I'm not going to promise anything. I might get another race I upload. I might not. So we'll just have to wait and see. But definitely expect one on the other oval, though, because that, I mean, you know me, oval guy. I want to do it. And it's a pretty cool one, too, for it being like a fantasy track. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so now that I got that out of the way, that's honestly, as far as like the racing goes and the Forza stuff, the rest of this commentary will be a little bit different. That's mostly what I wanted to talk about as far as like that goes. So, you know, enjoy the rest of the race in the background, but probably going to talk about some different stuff now. Well, actually, my bad. There is one more Forza thing to cover. There is an update coming out. So I believe the update is, what is it? This upcoming Tuesday. So let me double check. I think it's the 14th. Yes, November 14th. And it's the first, there have been updates, but it's the first really like substantial update to come to the game since it's been out. It's the first huge one. Like they've released like patch notes for it and stuff, and it's just like very long list, a lot of bug fixes, a lot of stuff like that. New track coming to the game, and I'll be covering that. So again, when I was talking about all the stuff coming out, there's even that with Forza. So Forza even has a big update and a new track. So even Forza has something. So this next couple weeks is going to be really stacked for me as far as stuff that I want to cover. But yeah, I'll be covering that. I'll do some races on the new series that they have that they implement for that week. I will definitely do a video on the new track that they add, even though I will admit it is not one of my favorites. I don't dislike, I mean, I don't, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't hate it. It's just a track that I think is kind of, it's just okay. It's just there. They're adding Abu Dhabi, or what do they call it? Like the Yas Marina circuit. I have always just kind of been whatever with that track. I don't know. I just don't really feel very strongly about it. It's a track. It's there. It's okay. I'm glad that the game's getting a new track. I just don't really, I think there's so many others that they could have added in before that one. That being said, it's still a new track. It's still good, and I'll still do a video on it. I'll still cover it. And I'll go over like the improvements in the patch as well. It won't just be a race on that, or it won't just be a video on that track. It'll be a video covering, you know, like all the bug fixes and updates, stuff like that, and see how they improve the game. Because the game, as much as I like Forza, like gameplay wise, I've been saying like this game does need a lot of work. It's not the cleanest experience that I've ever played, and that's where a lot of my frustrations with it come. So I hope that it makes a big improvement. Okay, so I'm glad I remembered that, because I almost forgot, and that would have been dumb. So there we go. That was the big Forza thing. Now I can talk about the other stuff. So the other stuff, obviously, you know, like if you've been following the channel, always do follow COD, whether it be just like, you know, casual wise, or I'm obviously big into the competitive side. And the new game just came out, and I'll be doing you know, my yearly new COD impressions video. I'm not sure, especially with all the other stuff coming out, I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to post that. Obviously, I'd like to do it sooner rather than later, but I also want to put some effort into it. Not like fully script it, but like plan it out and do some fun edits in it and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly when it'll come out. And like with those types of videos, you always want to like post them sooner rather than later. But I want it to be good. Oh my god, that was brutal. These guys, they stayed out an extra lap. That was not the strategy. That was not the strategy. But yeah, so like I just expect it. I guess what I could say, I don't want to give like a specific date, but just expect the COD video like in the next week. I would like to release it Friday. I'll say that because that would be a week of the game being out. I would like to release it Friday at the latest. So expect it before then, or you know, I'm planning on posting it before then, but if I don't, I should post it Friday. So even if you don't plan on getting the game, if you like watching that video, because I know a lot of people that, you know, follow me and follow the COD stuff, even if you don't play the games, like still watch those. It'll be a good video to watch, even if that's the case. So yeah, like even if you don't plan on getting the game or have any interest in it, it might still be a good video to watch. Because I'm gonna put more effort into it, and there'll be some fun stuff. It'll be a, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but there'll be some fun stuff. It won't be a video that's how do I put it? Like entirely informative. There'll be some fun stuff, and I'll try to make it like worth watching, even if it's not, in your particular interest. So that's kind of my goal with it. So yeah. So that'll be a big one. It'll probably be a really long video. Put some effort into that. So expect that again by the latest Friday, but sometime within the next week. And then the other thing, so there's the big Forza update, and then the other thing is so Halo Infinite is doing their I think you need the hydration. Halo Infinite's doing their first, I forgot what they rebranded them to, because they were doing like the in-game events, and then with this season they like changed the name of them. They're supposed to be like bigger than the previous ones. I forget exactly, like if they're calling it like operations now. I'm gonna be honest, what were they called earlier? Like fracture events or something? I don't know. But they're calling them operations now, and they're supposed to be bigger. It's supposed to be more substantial when they do like these different in-game events. And the first one of those for this season is that same Tuesday that I mentioned for the Forza update, that same Tuesday. And I've been really looking forward to it because I have played a decent chunk of the new Infinite season, and it's not perfect, but I have been enjoying it, and it seems like it's been a good update for the game as well. It seems like the game's gotten a lot of like eyes back on it. It seems like a lot more people have been looking at it. It seems like a lot more people have been coming back to it. A lot of the COD guys, especially waiting for that game to come out, were playing it, and saw a lot of people in different games that were coming back to Halo and checking out Halo with the season. So that's always cool to see. And they also announced this is a big thing for us, like racing wise. They announced that they're working on like a what would you call, like a foundational like rework of the like networking in the game, which is not out yet. So that's unfortunate. But what I've been saying for the past like year is like, I just want to hear something, I just want to hear that like something is being worked on, because like there's still a little bit of hope that I want to do stuff in that game, but without knowing that they're working on it, like anything to improve it, it was just kind of hard to have that. So like them announcing that was like really big for me and really big for us for wanting to do stuff on Infinite eventually. Because again, we're all kind of in that spot where it's like, yeah, it'd be cool to do stuff on Infinite, but we kind of can't until there's some improvements, and we don't even know if those improvements are being made. But apparently, again, they're working on like a major rework for the networking on the game, and that's crazy, by the way. Look at that. That lap was... I improved my lap time by 1,000th of a second. I think that's the only time I've ever done that on this game. That was crazy. I just had to point that out. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so doing the rework, and it's supposed to improve the networking. It's supposed to improve like desync stuff. It's supposed to improve, I'm sure, like hit reg as well, like just across the board, like network connectivity, that type of stuff in the game is supposed to be better, hopefully, when they release this. Now, unless I recall incorrectly, I don't think they gave any timeline on it other than it's being worked on. And if I had to guess, I would hope that we'll get some tests of it early next year, like February. I know that's still a long ways away, but just if I had to guess, that would be my guess of when the tests for it will come out, and then maybe they'll try to fully do it by like April-ish. That's just my guess. There's no basis for that. That's just what I'm thinking. I don't think they've released like a time frame or anything. So, but the big point is it's coming. It's supposed to be happening, and it's still going to be a while, and we've still lost a lot of the game's life cycle. But if you guys are still interested in, eventually doing racing stuff on Infinite, and I've been saying, like, I would love to. The hog thing's been fun, and doing the new stuff with the hogs has been fun. But I am starting to get to that point where it's like, man, I would really love to, like, go to the new game and, like, do stuff on the new game. And there's so many crazy things we could do with Forge. Like, I would really love to do that. So I would say I've got about another, year in me of doing MCC stuff before I kind of just, like, am over it. So that's just, like, my personal, that's just, like, kind of where I'm at. So I'm really, really, really hoping that this new update works and that we can actually do some new stuff. Because if we can, that opens up a whole can of worms where there's a ridiculous amount of things that we could do with the Forge on Infinite. And yeah, like I was saying, like MCC wise, I'm kind of at that point where it's like after another year, I would almost like at least want to break like a more extended one. Like I feel like, you know, pretty good this year, and I feel like the break will help. But I am starting to feel that where it's like I'm kind of over it. Like the whole point of me coming back and doing stuff again was for Infinite, and now it's been like 2 freaking years that we've like it's kind of getting to me a little bit, to me a little bit. So hopefully that stuff works. I got sidetracked. That was a very important thing to talk about. I got sidetracked, though. The other thing I wanted to talk about with Infinite was, the thing I really want to talk about was with this operation or whatever, they're introducing a Halo 3 like map-inspired playlist. And I'm really looking forward to it. It looks fun. They've got some really good-looking Forge remakes of, you know, classic Halo 3 maps. Guardian was in there, Pit that looks more like the Pit than what 343 released. I'm sure Construct was in there. I'm pretty sure, I would hope Narrows was in there. High Ground, and there's some other ones too. Those were just ones that I remember off the top of my head. But again, there's definitely other ones too. And I'm curious how it's going to play out. Like how, you know, like how Halo 3 inspired is it? Like, is it going to be like the Pit 343 where it has, that they made where it has like the infinite equipment and stuff? I would assume it's going to be BR starts. I hope if it's not BR starts, that's going to be a major buzzkill. So I really hope. But yeah, like, is it? I don't know if they've posted like full details. Is it going to be BR starts? Are they going to do the Halo 5, Halo 3 playlist thing they did where they adjusted like the shield regen rate to fit more? Are they going to adjust like movement values? Are they going to, or is it just going to be like, oh, it's just, you know, Halo Infinite on these maps with the infinite BR start and, you know, some reimagining, like some infinite equipment and repulse, grapple, stuff like that. That's what I imagine it'll be, but you just never know. But that's what I imagine and what I hope it'll be. And if that's what it is, then I'll definitely be playing a bit of that too, because again, I've been enjoying Infinite with the new season and, you know, recently been enjoying it more in general. But that playlist specifically too seems like it could be really fun. So I definitely want to put some games into that playlist and mess around with it, try those maps, probably do videos on each of them. That'll be like the first Infinite videos that I've done in, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Feels like it's been a while. But yeah, we got the win for the race. The second half of the race, I had some good strategy. I started to run some good laps. We got away from it, but I hope you guys enjoyed the first like 5-6 laps or so, because those were really good and there was some good on-track action. That was a lot of fun. So definitely enjoyed that. Enjoyed the race. I like this track. Again, it's an underrated track in my opinion. Very tricky, very technical. The more I race Mid-Ohio, the more I appreciate it. It's pretty fun. And yeah, it worked really well with these cars. But we've got some time. I'm gonna use this time in the, you know, waiting on these guys to finish my thoughts here. But yeah, so the Infinite thing. Or let me recap. So Forza update. You know, I'll be covering that, and this is all stuff that'll be like the next few weeks, probably just like the rest of the month. The Forza update, be covering that, the new track, and like the update itself, and still be doing the random race videos. I'll do the big COD video. I don't know how much other stuff I'll be doing on COD besides that, like content-wise, but I will do the big impressions video that I always do. Maybe Clad and I will do a duo piece on it too. That'd be kind of funny. So, you know, look out for that as well. And then for Halo, I will, if there's any more updates, because I know people that are in our racing community are curious about that stuff. If there's any more updates that they post on the networking thing, I'll try to do videos on that. Maybe I'll put those on the HRL channel. But I'll try to cover that as well whenever they do say, you know, new information on it. And that Halo 3 playlist, again, I'll probably play some of that, and I'll try to do some videos. I'll try to do one on each of the maps, and I think there's like 7 or 8. So that's a decent chunk of videos there. So I'll try to do that as well. So definitely some fun stuff that I'm gonna be doing on the main channel for the rest of the month, and that's it's good timing too, because after the next week of HRL, we have our I think we're gonna be going through with our like Thanksgiving week break that we planned earlier in the season. That'll be really nice, and then we'll have like the rest of the month off, and then we'll get into December and lock in for a should be an exciting conclusion to the series for 3 races on the 3 track types in December. So, end of the year, fun time, everything's lining up, and should be fun. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, comments are open for any of the stuff that I talked about, anything you want to say, and I'll see you guys in the next one.